I enjoy learning a massive amount. I enjoy networking a massive amount. I'm just an extremely curious person. In the past year and a half, I've got into ads. It's always been SEO. When Bitcoin was just blowing up for like the first time, me and my friend built a Bitcoin miner and we mined 3 Bitcoin in a month.
You can get very safe in a job.
Yeah.
You can get very safe and very secure, and you want more for yourself, and you know there's more in you, and you know you can do more, and you just fucking, there's something there, but you just won't fucking just take that first step. Even if you fail, I don't even see it as a fail. It's just a learning. You're paying to learn at that point, and you can't go to uni to learn that. Because this is the thing I've learned as well, is I want a lean team. Yeah. That's why we've only got 7 people. Like the amount of businesses that we've analysed that are for sale, as I was saying to you earlier, and like if they're running purely off of paid, their actual margins are minuscule.
So that together we have clarity, direction, and success way beyond what we ever previously thought possible. Here's your host, Frankie Lee.
First things first, guys, before we get started with this podcast, do me a solid favor and subscribe to this on whatever platform you're listening to it right now. Whether that's YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, I'd appreciate if you just hit that subscribe button, and it lets me know that the content that I'm putting out for you guys is hitting your ears at the right time. Much love. This podcast is sponsored by contentremoval.com. So whether you're looking to remove any images, videos, search results, fake Instagram accounts, get in touch with us at contentremoval.com. Welcome back to the Frankie Lee Podcast UK edition. Today, guys, we have got an absolute banger planned for you, let me tell you. We have the man who has acquired 16 businesses and exited 16 online businesses. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Thomas Phillips. Welcome.
Thank you, mate. Pleasure to be here.
Mate, it's an absolute pleasure to be in your humble abode. Not
temporary accommodation.
Your temporary accommodation. We're in Bournemouth today. Unbelievable scenes here, to be fair. Like I've never. Look. We can't say England gets close to the Gold Coast. We can't. But
this is the closest.
But this is the closest we can get to it.
Yeah.
Bournemouth in the UK.
100%.
So is this your rate? Because obviously you were talking about moving abroad and doing this, that, and the other. Is this is this you settled now?
Who knows? Yeah, I mean it's just been travelling so much lately. It's just been such a change of change of mindset and change of situation, I guess. Yeah. Sudden change of things. But actually, that's quite an interesting story. Why I'm now not moving to California.
Go on.
I can't remember if I said this to you.
Yeah, you haven't told the audience.
Okay. I can't remember if I've told you or not. But I was in Marbella randomly, and then seeing one of my friends there, and I was trying to find protein bars, right? And I couldn't find any anywhere, and I was like, right, there's a petrol station, Servo. I'll go there. And they're bound to have them. Went there, they didn't have any protein bars. But there was this dude washing a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, and it looked like brand new. And I thought, either he is a super humble dude, he's washing his own car, or he's the valeter of it. Either way, I'll go speak to him. And I spoke to him. Turns out he's a massive Irish businessman. He gave me half hour of his time drying his car, and I just asked him every question under the sun. Like, every possible thing, what would you do if you did everything all over again? Here's my situation. What would you do if you were in my shoes? Everything that you know now. And, he basically convinced me to stay in the UK. Well, I wasn't in the UK, but come back to the UK and become a UK tax resident again.
And why what was the reasoning behind that?
He was so bullish on property. Because I was asking a bunch of property questions as well as, and that's how he'd made his money through land and changing it to, permission of use. I love how we started here, because that just proves to every one of you listening, like, it doesn't matter what level you get. Like Thomas has bought and exited 16 online businesses, and we'll go into all that and how all that's unfolded. We will go into all that. But the fact is, he's still willing to ask these questions of people like that, other people wouldn't ask. And I think that's where you learn you learn so much wisdom, from being willing to ask people the questions. 100%. Yeah. Yeah, because I drove into the petrol station, went in, and I saw this guy, and I went to drive out, and I knew I'd feel worse if I drove off than if I just went up and spoke to him. Same thing with like when you approach a chick, you know, you'll feel so much worse if you don't go and do it.
Yeah.
Than if you do and just get rejected anyway. And probably half the time you won't get rejected anyway. So you'll learn something and it will just build your confidence. But
I think it just goes to prove though that you can learn something from everybody.
Oh, 100%.
And
absolutely.
It's like, you know, that guy's he's been able to impart some wisdom in you.
Yeah.
I mean, just to roll it back from that, and then we'll go back even further as well, because I want to go right the way back and start, you know, hear about your child and coming through and coming into entrepreneurship. But just going back to give people a bit of context, you had obviously decided to, you know, at this point to go to America. You'd obviously built these 16 brands, you'd exited them. You know, you thought your life was in America. Did he kind of like paint the picture then of what you'd kind of be missing out on in terms of like the things you could achieve in property here if you just focused? Is that kind of what came through?
Yeah, so he was basically like, obviously we're coming into a recession now. If not, we already are. If I moved, I give up my ability to get UK mortgages as easily and at the lower percent of what you can get them at. So you can get like an expat mortgage, but your percentage would be a lot higher. So it costs a lot more to get the same amount of money.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be able to view property as quickly or jump on deals as quick as I would have been able to. So yeah, and if I moved to California now, like the cost of living of where I'd want to be is astronomical in comparison to like living here. So I can reduce my cost of living right down, still be in a really, really nice place, but have the ability to buy property as and when it comes up. Yeah, so that whole thing we were talking about earlier in terms of opportunity cost. So the opportunity cost is, I'm delaying moving to California, or I don't quite move to California, who knows. I can still live there 4 months out of the year, which is kind of the best of both worlds. And I don't get taxed. Worldwide tax in America, which is an absolute
nightmare.
Yeah, kick in the nuts, because every UK company has to turn into a pass-through entity, and then you get taxed differently, and you have to do like IRS bookkeeping for all your UK companies and whatever other companies you have in the world as well. It just turns into like a financial
into a complete financial mismatch, and then you've added all these extra cost, and you've took away your most leverageable point, which is access to the money to be able to go and make these acquisitions in the market as it comes down.
Yeah, so, yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, shout out to Richard. That's the dude. I'm gonna send this to him after, because he would love that. Like he was messaging on WhatsApp after, like, oh, watch this video, watch this, learn about this particular thing. But he's basically like, you give up so much. Like you lose your ability to move on those kind of things by moving. So
I know exactly what you're saying because of the situation that I'm in. I was mortgage free at 30 years old and all that stuff, paid all that off. But now I've got property with money tied up, and I've got to pull money out, and it's a nightmare because I'm based in Australia, and and then I've got assets here, but then I'm taxed over there, and it's been a complete. I've lost so many opportunities in business and property and everything else from being structured how I am.
Yeah,
it's why at this moment in time I'm going through a lot of thinking strategically. Okay, where are you going to be? How are you going to structure yourself so that you can operate and take advantage of these opportunities that you get given?
Yeah,
it's so important that because we're all quick to jump at shiny objects, and then we jump at these shiny objects, and then we find out, oh shit, actually that's just cost me all this opportunity that I've spent 10 years building up to this point to be able to access that capital, access those rates and all this stuff. And then I've just gone on a whim, and I've just gone and put myself over here and just had to start scratch again. Yeah.
It's like, as we were saying earlier, when people go out and just buy a supercar, and then all your cash and all your monthly outgoings, or a good portion of it, is then invested into, a car, when you could have actually gone, I could have bought a property or two with that, and then used that money to then buy a car.
I think the wealthiest people that me and you both know operate on an entirely different blueprint to the people that go out and buy the type of supercars that you're probably talking about, like the Lambos and this and the other. Like a lot of people in this country that we both know that are the hundreds of millions, they're not going out buying Lambos.
No, not at all.
Do you know what I mean?
They think it's laughable.
Yeah, that's the truth. They do. They I mean, someone who I know the son of, but you know the father of. His father's worth X amount of 100 millions. And you were saying earlier, like if you turned up at his house with a Lambo, he'd laugh you off the driveway because he'd rather you gone and bought more property than
I think he'd internally laugh, but yeah, he'd definitely he'd probably say, you could have done something way better with that money. Like why have you it's kind of like you're wasting it.
It's something that a lot of them have said to me as well. It's like I've had the opportunity to sit down with a lot of some really wealthy e-commerce business owners and brand owners, and a lot of them, they have nice cars. Don't get me wrong, they have nice cars. There's nothing wrong with having a nice car and all that stuff. I get that, but what they did in their younger days compared to how they move now is completely different and contextualized. The wisdom that you pick up off these people is the fact of like, it isn't about that. That's not even the game. The game's about like, we do this now because we enjoy it and we like to create these flows, but it's not even about, that's just a big fugazi for Instagram. You know what I mean? That's a different level of the game.
There's no generational wealth being built there.
Yeah.
You're almost pissing it away.
So taking it way back, how did your entrepreneurial journey start in the first place? Like, how did you initially have a job and then go into entrepreneurship, or did you just start straight in entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so I remember my dad working insanely hard. Like for 19 years, he went to London, which was like a 1.5, 2 hour journey each way to go into London to work. And that like work ethic, I think I saw, and I was like, okay, well, this is the baseline, but I don't want to work not like that hard, but I don't want to work to that degree where I'm stressed and, potentially you have health issues from that level of stress, So I always saw that work ethic growing up. And then the earliest thing I remember was as in like a proper business.
Yeah.
Like I used to, actually no, let me back up way before that. I remember I was at school and I was selling Freddos. So my mum worked, she was like ran the brownies. She had like the brownie pack or whatever, like the Cubs or Beavers or whatever. And she had a booker's card, so you could get food at a discount, like wholesale. So I used to go in there with her, buy Freddos for under 10p, and then go into school the next day and then sell them. And then I started to systemize it more, where I was taking orders on MSN the night before, so I knew how many to take in. So I took pre-orders. That was kind of like the first initial thing. Then we did like, me and my mate Howard were washing cars and things like that. And then when I was 13, so I just started year 7, I was making little 3-ply wooden fingerboards, like tech decks.
Yeah.
Like little skateboards. And yeah, so building them in the garage, had like a mold and everything like that, glue them overnight, sand them all down, had like a full website and everything. It's called Vision Decks. And in the first year, sold to 39 different countries. And then, it got so busy, I just had to close it down. I just couldn't keep up with the orders. And then I bought a motocross bike with my profits. So
you made thousands. You made thousands out of those skateboards.
Yeah, I remember the motocross bike was $1,000. Yeah, and I just turned 14. But yeah, it just got so busy I had to stop it. So that was my first experience in e-com, SEO, and actually building something online. So I had like a little PayPal button.
So you weren't even running ads for that. So you were generating that all for SEO, yeah?
Yeah, no, it's literally only in the past year and a half I've got into ads. There's always been SEO So that was like my first experience where you could keyword stuff the page, and I was ranking for like finger skateboard grip tape and finger skateboard bearing wheels and stuff like that.
Because you obviously SEO was one of your main businesses back in the day. Obviously, probably one of your initial businesses was link building, right?
Yeah, well, we've always done link building to the sites, and then the outreach got so big that we then decided to do a link building agency alongside that. But it's always been I've done SEO for my own sites.
But this is where you started to get the learning in. So you progress through school, you're building these websites, you juicing them all up with SEO to get sales, and that's what you did all through from like 13, 14 years old.
Yeah, so I remember then the next one. So then, that kind of obviously worked. I had to close it down. Didn't understand about hiring people or anything at that point. Obviously 13, and then I remember I got a job at McDonald's. Absolute worst job ever. I was there for 3 months, and I was like, this is so crap that I had to figure out another way of doing something. So I was playing a lot of Call of Duty at the time, and I was seeing that people had like a pistol, and they were rapid fire shooting it. I was like, how the fuck are they doing that? There's no way you can move your finger that quick. So I searched it online. Turns out, basically it then evolved into this business where people were sending me their Xbox controllers. I programmed a microchip, opened up their controller, soldered everything in, drilled a hole in the back, put a little micro switch button, and then sent it back to them. And then I was earning like 4 times as much an hour doing that. It was called Digimods, was the little thing. And then I was like, fuck McDonald's, I'm going to quit this and just carry on doing this. So I did that for like 5 months through my website and eBay. And then... someone priced me out of it. I couldn't make any profit on it anymore. So I just moved on to the next thing. And then, I've just done years and years of like importing things from China and just like building eBay stores and all kinds of different things. And I had another big thing when I was 17, 18 maybe, when Bitcoin was just blowing up for like the first time. Me and my friend built a Bitcoin miner, which was really decent. It was basically just like a PC, just like a PC tower.
Yeah. And
we mined 3 Bitcoin in a month, which is just mad. Like, obviously today it's not worth so much, but a month ago. And then we were seeing that like Litecoin was just starting to kind of make the news.
Yeah.
And that was becoming more popular. And I was like, okay, I want to build a Litecoin miner. How do I do that? So I was looking at all these different things online, like people have uploaded tutorials and stuff. And there was like this one cable that you couldn't get. It's called a PCI cable.
Yeah.
And you couldn't buy it anywhere in the UK. And you could only buy it from China. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. And they're selling for 60 quid on eBay. And there's one seller. And I was like, huh. So I went on, spoke to my previous contacts from China. And they were like, you can, we can ship you a cable for 4 quid or something. And I was like, okay.
Wow, there's a profitable business here.
Yeah, so I ordered like 5, put them on eBay, and they sold, I think it was like within 1 or 2 days. And I was like, holy shit. Okay. And I was just messaging them, and then my orders were just getting progressively bigger and bigger because people were buying these cables because they wanted to build miners. And then I built Litecoin mining parts, ranked that for number 1 for Litecoin mining parts. And then,
so as in lightningminingparts.com.
Yeah.
Literally.
And then I was selling all these cables, and then I was like drop shipping other people's like £3,000 like actual miners, and then I was making money off of that. So then that just like absolutely blew up because I was riding a trend type thing. So that just went through the roof, and I just remember at my house was just like, there's actually a picture somewhere. I've got like stacks of boxes. My mate Jack will remember this because we used to live together, and it was just like stacks of boxes of cables. And then every day I'd go to the post office with 2 massive sacks full. And then I like employed my sister as well because my organisation skills were terrible. She's really good at organising. So I paid her like £1 per packet.
Yeah.
She like fully organised everything, boom, 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 put everything in. And then she started to do it.
So you'd already recruited her as a staff member by that point?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, shout out to Emma, brilliant.
But mate, that just goes to show you how willing you've been just to like keep throwing shit at the wall to see what works.
Yeah, absolutely. When you spot an opportunity, you got to absolutely go for it. Not have like analyst paralysis or whatever it is, where you analyze something so much and then you never take action on it because you've thought of every possible thing that could go wrong.
Is that what you feel holds most people back?
Absolutely. There's so many people. I speak to some of my friends and I'm like, fucking take action. Like, come on, you could have like 6 months worth of talking about it. You could have been 6 months ahead. You know, there's a lot of people. I think a lot of people are also scared to take that leap with things.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, because, you know, majority of people that listen to this, or, you know, there'll be a lot of entrepreneurial people that listen to this, but some people will be in jobs and that, and it's very, you can get very safe in a job.
Yeah.
You can get very safe and very secure, and you want more for yourself, and you know there's more in you, and you know you can do more, and you just fucking, there's something there, but you just won't fucking just take that first step.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're listening to this and that is you, and I've just described you, then I'm telling you now, like, you're going to have to, you know, Thomas has thrown lots of shit at lots of different things, made a few £1,000s here, lost a bit there, done this, done that, failed at this, set this up, not gone right, rolled this down the road, that didn't work, all that stuff that you've done.
Yeah.
But then every time you do that, say you build Litecoin machines.com, whatever, and then you're selling parts, and then say it fails, or say it makes 14 grand, it fails.
Yeah. What
people fail to understand, is, in my experience, is like the fact of like, you've just learned how to build a Shopify store.
100%.
And you don't lose that.
No.
You've just learned that, and you've been paid to learn. Even if you broke even, you've just learned that skill for fuck all.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is what I was saying to a few mates the other day, like, even if you fail, I don't even see it as a fail. It's just a learning. You're paying to learn at that point, and you can't go to uni to learn that. You can't pay to learn that in uni. You know, you just have to do it.
Yeah.
So, and you probably will fail, but you know, I guess our risk tolerance is maybe lower than most.
Yeah. I mean, when I think about how many dice I've rolled in life, on a personal level. Even the dice that I'm rolling now with everything I'm doing with this podcast, it's like, so I think if people knew how much money and effort and time I'd put into it, they'd be questioning me right now. But because I know in my heart of hearts, that this is me, and this lights me up. I'm like, I can justify it, 100%. And I will go and find other ways to earn revenue to keep rolling. All I basically do every day, Thomas, right, is I get up and I kick the fucking can further down the road than the day before. Yeah. And not every day. Some days I might move it a millimeter. And some days I might kick it 10 meters. Yeah. But it's getting kicked. And that's all I want everyone that listens to this podcast to do, is just kick that fucking can as far down that road as possible and keep kicking it. That's it. That
consistency of it, just grinding it out, is because you know in your head and your heart that it's going to be successful and it's going to be huge. Yeah, I can see it when you talk about it. The passion in your face lights up. And that's exactly the same if I think back on any project that I've done that has been successful in the end. Yeah. Is because, you're just like, I'm willing to burn I'm willing to go to absolute zero to make this work. And it will absolutely work. There's no two ways about it.
Just for a bit of an indication, how many websites and online businesses did you start, build, and shut down? Hold on, before you sold one and made a profit out of it. Before you'd made a profit before you'd made real money out of a business, and then sold one and made real money on the exit.
Oh, so it's actually, this is interesting because maybe a year or so ago I made a whole document of every business that I'd started and what I'd learned from it. And there was about 25 or 30 successful ones, and I couldn't even count the number of failures or lessons that I'd had. It's at least 100.
Is that a document you'd be willing to share?
I'd have to re-review. I'd have to review what I've got in there.
I want to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, maybe you make that a little lead magnet.
Yeah. I just think there'd be a lot of learnings in that would save the audience a lot of time.
Oh, 100%. I totally forgot that I did that. I've only just remembered. So I need to reread it as well because it's really, really interesting to see. And it's a lot of a similar sort of things like SEO. So it's like figuring out a traffic source. I think if you can, I'm going to say this to the camera because it's important. Like if you can figure out a traffic source,
yeah,
then you can literally go into anything. Because, let's say Facebook ads is a very popular one. You don't need to run Facebook ads for one particular niche and that's it. If you know Facebook ads, you know how to run traffic to anything.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with SEO.
Medium, yeah.
I could run, I could sell leads to someone. I could sell e-com stuff. I could do affiliate. I could do whatever. It doesn't matter what niche it is. You learn that traffic source and you can apply it to anything. So that, in my opinion, that is like the key thing to learn. So for me, that's been SEO. I've learned SEO, and now I can start any type of business. Fucking like coin mining parts. Like how random, like
but it
finger skateboards.
But if I said to you, hey, Tom, I found this epic lighting product, and we can get it for this, and I think it can sell for this. You'd be like, yeah, no worries. We'll build that website, and we can drive organic traffic to it because I know how to do this, and this, and this. Because I failed 15, 16 times years ago, and then I learnt this and I learnt this.
Yeah,
it's like all them compounded learnings allow you to then go and find those. You've perfected SEO, and SEO is changing all the time. But you perfected SEO, which has driven your main source of all your traffic and all your revenue for years.
Yeah,
you learnt that by building these 14, 15, 16 times before you ever sold one and made money on it. Which is mad.
Absolutely,
which is mad when you think about it, because most people would have failed a couple of times and been despondent with it.
Yeah,
but
and
you
then
just
kept fuck this.
But and gone fuck this. But you've kept going. I mean, what is it that has kept you going?
What is it that's kept me going? Oh, that's a very good question. What is it that's kept me going? Oh, I don't know. I just love it. I just love the hustle of it, I guess.
But why? There must be something that's what's that?
Here we go. Four questions deep. We'll get to it.
Yeah. No. What is it that really I really want to know, because and I listen to your story and knowing what I know and knowing what we're going to transpire for this podcast. It's like, why have you kept going when other people would have stopped?
I think it's because I don't know what else I'd do. I genuinely enjoy it so much. I could not imagine myself doing anything else.
But what is it you enjoy about it? You enjoy working out how to find these pieces to put together, or what is it? What is it that really lights it up?
I enjoy learning a massive amount. I enjoy networking a massive amount. I'm just an extremely curious person. So, like approaching that guy Richard with the Rolls Royce, and like, okay, he's obviously got somewhere. Oh, I might be able to find a nugget in there. He might say something that might then help me, 2 steps time. So I just love learning about that, and I just love running a team. I love learning, love running a team. I love systems and processes. Yeah, I love making money. Like that's it's a.
I know. And people when some people say that they love making money, like I love making money too. And when people say that, some people, you look at you like you've said a dirty word, and it's like,
I guess
it's not even that. Like you can love all things and still love making money. Do you know what I mean? It's not it's not like it shouldn't be a forbidden fruit to want to make money.
No,
do you know
what I mean? 100%. Especially if you're doing it in a ethical way. Like that's really why. Printed Memories, my latest company, I didn't want to just set up another for-profit company. So we literally plant a tree for every order that's made. So we partner with Ecologi, and every order, it immediately gets siphoned off. This is like before I make profit.
Yeah.
So, regardless of if I'm making profit or not, it's planting a tree. And then you can go on their site and you can literally see the exact tree that that you are planting, you can see your order, click on it, and you can see on Google Maps exactly where it's going to be planted. So it's like super legit, which is really nice. But it feels a lot better because like on my vision board for the company, for example, is like pictures of forests of trees. Because I'm like, that is such a cool thing to do over just like, oh, it's another like for-profit company, you know. So it's like adding another level of a why. Like, why am I doing that?
So basically what you've learned is to make your companies about more than you. So even though you're making a profit, you can actually feel a tangible growth on the back of it.
Yeah, 100%. Because like, how cool is that? How many people could say, "Oh yeah, we planted a forest worth of trees from the company"? Oh, that's just cool. I think that's cool.
People, if people aren't planting trees, the world's going to lose. The oxygen will run out in the world anyway. Like, people have to plant trees.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like we don't. I mean, you're choosing to do it, which is good, and that's on your vision. That's cool. But like, if we don't, if there wasn't people like you who sell this and then plant a tree every time they sell one, if there wasn't that going on, then obviously the world's going to be a pretty bleak place, because we're cutting down too many trees, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you think about it like that.
Yeah.
But I want to dive into this vision board. Like, how are you planning? Because obviously, like, we're speaking to a lot of these top people that I'm speaking to, including yourself. It's like a lot of them do kind of have this vision board and do kind of obviously they put a lot of work in, but they seem to attract this into their life. They seem to attract.
100%.
They seem to like manifest stuff into their life. Whether they call it manifesting or not is not the same. When I listen to them speak, that's what they're telling me.
Yeah.
Even though they might not call it that.
Yeah.
Is that how are you building out this vision board and bringing this stuff into your life, in your opinion?
Yeah. So I'm a very visual person, so I have to see it. So I learn really well from like watching videos of things. So for me, a vision board is a really good way of like attaching something that is tangible in the future to something now in my head of that I can repeatedly think about.
Yeah.
And that really came from like The Secret. So shout out to Andy for that. Showing me that The Secret years ago. He's kind of like, okay, I think your mindset's now at the right place where you would fully understand this and you could really roll with it. So learning like that side of things, like just watching The Secret on like a very basic level. Have you watched The Secret?
I have. Yeah. Rhonda.
Australian lady.
Yeah, Rhonda something or other. Yeah. I've watched it. Yeah.
And yeah, just learning that on like a very basic level. And then I must have rewatched it at least 15 times because every time I rewatch it, there's so many more things that come up. But if you just watch it without the right mindset, you go, oh, well, you just think about shit and then it just happens. Well, that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? But you've got to act. It misses like quite a few points, but you have to rewatch it to understand
the nuances.
Yeah, to understand like the deeper level of what it's actually saying. So like having a vision board, right? Okay, I'm now picturing what I want, right? And then I'm acting on things that might come up, you know, to get that. And it might be totally different things, but then, you know, you're then jumping in on, oh, this is interesting. Let me try that. It's like a nudge from the universe, like that guy in Marbella, you know.
You felt...
drive past and I'm like, oh, something is telling me I need to speak to this dude. And my life could have gone in a totally different direction.
Had you not spoken to him?
Had I not spoken to him.
And that what you're feeling, that pull in regards to talking to that guy, that's like an internal wisdom that you feel in your gut that some people choose to ignore.
Yes, yeah. And the more you ignore it, the worse you feel.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, and one thing with vision boards that I've found that a lot of people get wrong with vision boards is I only realised this the other day. I built a vision board a couple of years ago and I achieved a lot on that vision board.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I'd never realised it until the other day, right?
Yeah.
So it's ironic that we're speaking about this. I built a vision board in Australia. I I had quite a few things on it, in terms of business, in terms of podcast guests and all this other stuff. There was a woman on it as well, and I dated that chick for a period of time, and I didn't even know her at the time she was on the vision board, so that was mad. It was mad. That's a totally different story now. That's done. But anyway, the fact of the matter is, what I realised was, it's not just about having a vision board. It's about feeling how it would feel and how these things would feel on this vision board. And that is the one thing that most people miss.
Absolutely.
They don't sit there and not only think about the vision that they'll have and how their life might look in certain situations in life. It's like, how does that fucking feel to you?
Yeah.
How does that, because that is that feeling and that elevation of feeling that leads you to attracting those things into your life.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I missed that fucking component for years.
Yeah. I think a lot of people do, especially when you watch The Secret and you watch it from a surface level point.
Yeah.
They only briefly touch on the emotional side of it.
That's the most important part.
It is. It honestly is. Yeah, because when... Oh, it's just so funny. Yeah. I do it now subconsciously without thinking about it. But at the start, it took a lot of effort to really think how it would feel. Like the amount of time... I can't even tell you how many times I've like driven the car that I've then gone on to buy, like physically. Because I know they do that in The Secret. And I was like... Oh, that looks stupid. Yeah, I'm going to try that because that's cool. You know?
So you've gone somewhere to drive the car physically?
No. I've been
in your mind
sat there. I've been in bed or something. Yeah. Oh, the amount of things, like just before I go to bed, I'll think about so many things. Maybe that's why I get crap sleep. But I'm like picturing what it will be like. You know, it's just even like
you've got some
stupidest.
Fun, yeah.
Like ones like this is just jokes. Like lying in bed, but being over to one side because I'm picturing my girlfriend who, you know, to be, who's going to be next to me, so to speak. Like, and that level of like deep emotion thinking about it just speeds up the manifestation process so much quicker.
Yeah.
Which is really, really interesting.
And it's not, I mean, I think you got five top end cars now, haven't you?
At the moment, yeah.
So it's not. So it's true because every one of them started off as a vision, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So everything is, because I remember like my car earlier that we were in, I had like the exact pictures of it, and then I think it was maybe 2 years later.
The one that we went in today?
Yeah. And then, oh, mate, it's just crazy to think about. Maybe 2 years ago now, I had this huge vision board. I went on Pinterest and just created like the biggest thing. There must have been like 100 pictures.
Yeah.
And there was so many different things on it. And one of them was obviously the GTR 34s. And then, and a 458 Spider. And then so many other things like different trips that I wanted to do, or holidays, or staying in like different places.
And you got them all?
Yeah, well, they're coming. I'd say a good 50% of them have already
come to fruition.
Manifested, yeah. It's so interesting. As you said, like when you go back and look at it, you know, because I hadn't really thought about that for a while, because I've been in a place where I've had a vision board up. I can just picture what I've had. And it's even like to the like exact 450 KTM motorbike in the exact colours, and I've been like, holy shit! I bought the exact outfit to that dude in that picture because I thought that was cool as fuck.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh shit, this works so well for like personal things.
Will it work?
Why have I never done it for business? Yeah. And then that's really when I was like, oh, okay, let me make a separate one. Right, so I want all the trees on here, you know, like I want different pictures of like me with my team. Obviously it's not me, but you know, I'm visualizing myself doing that and having these different experiences with my team, and like, you know, building things up, and like entrepreneurship award, entrepreneur of the year award and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's just things like that really juices me up.
A few weeks ago, well, even a few months ago maybe, I sat down and thought, I need to start talking on stage. I need to start talking on some of the biggest stages in the world. I believe I'm built for that.
100%. You got the silky voice for it.
I reckon that's a bit of me, you know. I reckon I could do that. So I thought to myself, I sat there and I did some breath work and I visioned it and I felt it. I felt it. Anyway, I felt it. I was there. Boom, boom, boom. A few weeks go by. Been mulling it over in my head. When I go on runs, thinking about it a bit. And then another week goes by. Get a call from my mate. I'd love you to speak at this one of the biggest fitness events in Europe. It's in Portugal. I'd love you to speak at it. I was like, sweet, that's my speaking career started.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Boom. Just, you know, we'll fly you there. We'll put you up in this hotel. You're there for 4 days. We want you to talk about what you've been doing in podcasting. Boom, 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 boom. We love what you do. Crack on, boom.
Yeah.
Here's an invite.
Yeah.
I thought, mad. That's
yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
And it's just so many things. When I'm in flow like that, and when I'm thinking like that, and when I'm visioning like that, like what you're saying, my life is so much better, bro.
Oh, 100%. It feels so much better on a daily basis.
Takes away like any like anxiety, excitement, which is the same thing. I try and explain to people. It takes away all of that.
So do you think that is because you were thinking about it each day? Do you think that thinking about it then reduces your anxiety?
No.
Surely that would elevate your
manifestation or what we're talking about is this. It's thinking about what you want on the physical, on the active plane. You think about what you want, so you thought about it. Think, oh, that's what I want. Then you ask yourself why you want it. Make sure it's aligned with the right reasons. So then you get at that point. Now it's about feeling how that will feel. So you feel how that feels. Once you feel how that feels and you've put that out into the world that you want to do that, you don't need to think about it anymore. Because thinking about it actually puts it further away from you. Right? You don't need to think about it. You felt it.
Yeah.
Feeling it's different to thinking about it. Thinking's active. Feeling it's an internal thing. Totally different.
Because you only need to ask for it once.
Yeah. Don't need to keep asking.
No.
Don't keep. It's not even. It's not just about asking. It's about taking action towards the things, the opportunities that come up in your life to move things forward, to kick that can further down the road. Like I said.
Yeah. But
it's about feeling it, bro. There is inherent things. I mean, I don't know about you, but I am very excited for what's coming in life because I felt into a lot of stuff, bro. Like, and I know what's coming, man.
Yeah,
I know what's coming with everything I'm doing. That's why I keep going, man.
Excellent.
It's like when we were walking back from the beach earlier, and we were coming to sit down to do this podcast, I was getting more and more buzzed because I know this is another step towards my vision.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I can see it.
Yeah. That if you can find something or just start to put those things together, whatever that is for you that's listening to this, and this is the thing, right? The reason why I wanted to talk into this with you today is because like you've built and exited 16 online businesses. You've made a lot of money. You've got property. You've got beautiful cars. You've got all this stuff going on in your life, and you do it, right? And you're talking about doing it, and you do it in your life, and I talk about doing it, and there's other people that I know that have lots and lots of things, lots of beautiful things in their life, and lots of beautiful achievements in their life, and they do it too.
Yeah.
Some of them don't even know what it's called, but they do it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
This is the thing that right. It doesn't matter whether Davey Fogarty, who owns Uddy at $350 million a year US. It doesn't matter whether Davey Fogarty knows it's called manifestation or not. I can tell you by speaking to him and on and off a camera that he has manifested the life that he has.
100%.
I know it because I listen to the way he talks about stuff, and I'm like, that's manifestation.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing I've noticed about all successful people.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can't be successful not, just floating around doing nothing and not thinking about what you want, because then you'll never get what you want.
Well,
you don't know what you want.
How's about this then, right? To all of you that are listening to this that might doubt what I'm saying or might have any seed of doubt of what I'm saying, I want you to imagine one thing. Have you ever thought about a bad thing in your life that's going to happen or that hasn't happened and then it's turned out to be true? That's manifestation too, but that's compounding the other way.
In the wrong way. Yeah.
And that's the truth. You can attract either way. That's
100%.
so your mind and what you think about attracts in both directions. So why would you think negatively?
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to fundamentally say.
I actually had an experience where I negatively attracted breaking my ankle. And it's really, really interesting. And when I reverse engineered how the events leading up to that point, I was like, wow, that's insane.
Break that down. Like, it's not to break that down for me.
Yeah. So basically it's so funny. It was like through my own company, but I had a pro scooter company, like push scooters for kids, right, at a skate park, and fully like developed the product and everything, got them all shipped over. It's called Rilla Scooters. And we had like a team of like athletes and stuff. It was like touring around and shit. It was really, really, really cool. And I remember I was living actually around here, and there was lots of like little things. It was coming up to the summer, and like I remember seeing someone with a broken leg with like a cast. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, that would be terrible. That would ruin your summer if that happened. And then for some reason I thought that, and then it like
you kept thinking it.
Yeah, it nagged me. I kept thinking about it, and then I kept seeing people who had
because you're
legs
thinking
or
about it.
Yeah, because your reticular activating system in your head or whatever then sees it. Blue Honda. Oh, I see blue Hondas all the time. Whatever. And then I remember the guys were like, "Oh yeah, come down to the skate park," and I was like, that night I was like, "Oh, I don't know, like I don't know if I want to go. You know, something just doesn't feel right." And I was like, "Oh fuck it."
But you ignored it.
I ignored it, and I went there, and I was like, I had really bad feeling. I was like scooting around, and it sounds so funny. And I was just like, oh, something doesn't feel right. And I was getting really angry. Like I was getting really aggy at like these little kids and stuff. And I was like, fuck this, I'm just going to go over there. And for some reason, I put my foot on the scooter at the weirdest angle, went down this big roll-in just to go off to the side, put my other foot on the rear brake, the back slid out, and my foot just caught. And all my weight went over it, and it just went, like my whole ankle just went, and never broken a bone in my life. And this was about 6 years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago. And they were like, oh, that's like the worst break we've ever seen in an ankle. And I've got like 2 pins in there, and I've got like a plate with 7 pins in.
So you fully believe you attracted that?
100%. There's no way I didn't, and I was thinking about it so much in a negative way, and I couldn't shake it. It was really bizarre, and because I'd experienced it in a positive way, and you like can't shake that like feeling, excitement, the feeling of it happening. But the opposite way is insane. It's really bizarre. And then I was lying in hospital, and I was like, how did this happen? And I was like, oh, 50% of my brain has been filled with like, oh, that would be terrible to break it before. And it was just before the summer as well. And then I ended up, it was funny, I launched the company from my hospital bed a day after I'd had the operation. Like, launched the website and launched everything because we had all the stock in. It was just so funny. It was like such a weird experience. It was so bizarre. I had to like relearn to walk and shit. But yeah, and that like really put me back. But then I just had to get on with it and just carry on. But it was a bizarre thing.
The back in 2020 when I was doing that vision board that I was telling you about, I did this vision board, and obviously I had the woman, I had the cars that I wanted, and all this stuff. Not so much cars. I had a car on there, and I got the car and all that stuff. It's all good. Anyway, the one mistake I made, especially on the attracting the female thing, is I went completely for like the look and everything like that. I went, look, what I missed was all the other all the other things, and how it feel to be cared about, and all this this stuff that everyone forgets about, right? We all forget about. We just go for this. Oh, it looks great over here, like it looks. But how do you want to feel? How do you want to be treated by this person? What do you know what I mean? Like all this stuff that's so important, but you just completely miss it. And then when I attracted that person in, that was all missing. And why was it missing? Because I'd never visioned that. I just visioned the good looks and all this other shit, right? Which is great. But that's only half the battle. Yeah. So when you make a vision board, the first thing I'd say about a vision board is, like, when you've put everything on this vision board, the first thing is ask yourself, why do I actually want that? Yeah. Is that for me, or is that because it's what, like we were talking about earlier, like, is that because you lacked money as a kid, so you couldn't buy that, so you wanted that pair of Gucci trainers? Like, because I always wanted a pair of Gucci trainers, but I figured out, I was telling you in the car on the way here, I figured out I only wanted a pair of Gucci trainers because I couldn't afford to buy them when I was a kid, and it was just a fear of lack, and that's why I wanted them. So I didn't really want them. I just wanted them to say that I could have them. But as long as I got the money there to buy them, I don't need to buy them to prove anything to anybody. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. Exactly. A lot of people are putting things on the vision board and things into and thinking about things in their life, that they want things because their peers or their friends or this, that, and the other, they want that stuff, but it doesn't actually serve them. Yeah. And that's very important.
100%. Just going back to the whole chick on the vision board thing, it's really interesting you say that, because I remember the first time when I was like, right, I really want a girlfriend now. I wrote down a A4 bit of paper, and I had it stuck up in my bathroom, and I had this really big mirror, and I'd like write stuff out on the mirror, and I'd like look at myself picturing what it would feel like. But I had a very, very specific list of like all those kind of checkpoints. Yeah. And actually, I'll tell this story because it's quite funny. I remember I was like, I wrote down this list, and I was like, why the fuck is this not happening? Like, what's going on? This is really annoying me. And I was like on Tinder at the time, and I was like swiping through. Yeah. I was like 21, 22 or something like that.
Yeah. This is when Tinder was actually optimized for converting.
There you go, yeah. And I was like, swiping, I was like, for fuck's sake. And I was like, this is a piece of shit, and I deleted it. And then maybe a couple seconds later, something in my head went, download that again. And I was like, fuck was that? And I was like, okay. Downloaded it, swiped, and I was like, oh wow, this chick came up, and I was like, oh, nice. Swiped, and it was a match, and I was like, holy fucking shit. And I went through her pictures, and I was like, holy shit. And I was like looking at my, like what I'd written down, and I was like, what the fuck? And
this is bad. I was not.
Yeah. And then we had an amazing relationship for a good number of years. It was amazing.
I don't know what I'm more surprised about, the fact that you manifested this chick, or the fact that you had an amazing relationship off Tinder. I don't know what shocks me.
But it's so amazing to be like that specific, and then just keep, know that it is going to come, because now I've redone the list. Yeah. And it's now like 2 pages of A4.
Do you ever do you have a set of non-negotiables for business and life and for relationships and all that stuff? Do you have
100%. Yeah, not so much. I mean, it's really something I've thought about for a chick, like non-negotiables. Like, yeah, this is everything I do want, and this is everything I don't want. Yeah. Yeah, because that's very important to eliminate.
That was the part that I was missing. Yeah. Because in certain areas of my life, I was writing all the things that I wanted. Business, mindset, relationship, how I want to. I was writing everything I wanted, and I was feeling into everything I want to feel, and that was all great. But I wasn't writing what I will not accept. Yeah, and that is where everything that I was attracting was like kind of all right, but then there's a little bit wrong, and I was like, why is there a little bit wrong? And it was like I felt that into that, but you weren't writing what you didn't want.
You weren't specific enough, I guess.
Yeah, so it's all about, what won't you accept in your life? Yeah, because I don't know if you know this, but the because of how the psychology of men and women have changed in society, it's like 80%. There's like a 5 or 10% of the top echelon of men get 80% of the women.
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah.
So like, and then the rest is just like cleaning up scraps and all that shit. And that's just because of the female empowerment movement. Do you know what I mean? And how that's changed. I was reading a big study on it.
Right.
And there was I can't remember the guy, Reese Wabara. He owns a fashion brand in the UK.
Right.
He was putting all the studies on his Instagram stories, and I was reading through it, and I was like, "Fuck, that's so true." It's because of how the psychology's changed. But it's about not. It's totally about having a list of things that you will not negotiate on in all areas of your life as well.
Yeah.
What you won't accept. It's actually the won't accept list that I've found that actually allows you to pursue and go and find what you want.
Yeah, it's really interesting now that we're talking about that. I'm thinking like, I should definitely do that in like my business and other areas, because I've written a very specific list down for stuff I do want in lots of areas, but not what I don't want. That's only for the chick list.
Yeah. See, it all starts off with a man who's trying to pursue things in business and life and trying to do it. It all starts off with the woman, what you won't negotiate on a woman. It all starts off with that list. But it needs to be in business. It needs to be on mindset. It needs to be in every area of your life. You have to say what you will not accept. And as soon as you define what you won't accept, I found that's when you get the freedom of clarity to go and find what you want.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's a very, very true statement.
And it's like, and what I haven't done that you've done, and what I want everyone else to do that's listen to you earlier, was the fact of like, you went through every business that you've had, and you've sat there and you've made a document of what you've learned in every area of your life. And that, to a lot of people that listen to this, will be like, oh, that sounds boring. Yeah, it might sound fucking boring, but it's also going to save you a lot of fucking time and a lot of repeated mistakes.
Yeah.
So go and fucking do it. Like, because I'm literally, when I get back to the room later, I'm gonna write down, contentremoval.com. What have I learned from this?
Yeah.
Boom. You know what I mean? And write it all down, because why wouldn't I do that?
Oh, 100%. It's like you're mentoring yourself, which I found really interesting, because all a mentor really is a collection of their past experiences. They look at your experience you're currently doing. They look at what they've previously done and go, well, I would do it this way. So why not mentor yourself? Because the amount of shit that we forget, but you're mentoring yourself because you're going, well, what did I learn? What would I do differently now, knowing what I know now? Now, that was a really interesting one, because the amount of stuff, it like closes the gap. The further you get down the list, it's like, the less stuff I would have done differently, because you were very naive at the start and you know a lot now. So you could have done so many different things to that business. And then the further down the list, the closer to the year it is today, the shorter that list gets, because you're refining. You're refining.
And if you keep this list as an active list or an active document, you can keep going back and seeing all the mistakes you've made.
Yeah.
What was the key mistake that you'd found, because you did this all in one go? What was the key mistake you'd found in all the areas that held you back?
I would need to read back over first to check it. I think, just like surface off the top of my head, shiny object syndrome is definitely a big one. Like taking on too many projects. We were talking about this earlier. Taking on too many projects at once and not giving full focus to something that you think could be really big. Because, they say like, oh, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
They tell you that to keep you poor.
Quite possibly.
That's that is a learned mentality from school.
Yeah,
it's a learned mentality from school. All these this is priceless. I'm glad you said that. There are so many things that we are taught at school. Money doesn't grow on trees. Bullshit statement. What does it mean exactly? All these little bullshit statements that we're taught, and they're subconsciously programmed into our mind to lower our ability to creatively think, to creatively think ourselves into bigger and better opportunities for ourselves. 100%.
Yeah,
I believe that.
Because it just dumbs it down when someone says, "Oh, money doesn't grow on trees." Oh well, I look out the window, look at a tree. Yeah, well, money's not growing on it. Yeah, you're right. Best
but it's
carry on doing what I'm doing.
But it's the whole psychology of that. When you say statements like money doesn't grow on trees and all this kind of stuff, and like there's like and stupid things like people say like, there's no happiness in money and all this kind of stuff, and money doesn't lead to happiness and all that stuff. Think about why you're saying that. The reason you're saying that is because you don't have the amount of money that you want, and it's and rather than actively thinking about going and creating more money and more abundance in your life, you're shutting down your fucking freedom of thought by saying a bullshit statement that you never even created for yourself, that was instilled in you by your parents or your situation or your teacher or someone else who is also limited belief.
Yeah,
and that is literally like society's going around saying these fucking bullshit statements that I've been guilty of this, where I've gone through life saying these bullshit statements, and then it was Naval Ravikant and people like that, these massive thinkers that founded like Angel Lists and things like that. He's like, question every fucking thing that you've been taught. Yeah, question it all. Yeah. And when you question all these statements, they mean fuck all.
Yeah, it's just whatever you've attached a belief to it. But I find that the whole money doesn't grow on trees statement really funny, because if you think about like a marijuana plant, that is literally money growing on a tree. Like that's what I just. So it's like, yeah, it is a true. It's not a true statement, because when you think about it differently, or think about, it's just funny. I just find that.
But but you are how you talk to yourself, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah. So, and that is a big thing that I've definitely caught myself lately, because I'm like, oh, why are you feeling slightly off? Or what have you been saying to yourself? I wish you could like record it and play it back. That would be amazing. And then when you catch yourself and you're like, interesting. It's like what we were saying earlier about like, okay, I'm feeling a certain way. I'm in a funk. Sit down with a pen and paper, no other distraction, write out what you're feeling, and then put why, ? And then go, ask yourself, why am I feeling like that? And then you go the next level. Oh, I think I'm feeling like this because my boss said blah, blah, blah. Well, why? And then you like go deeper and deeper and deeper. You peel the onion layers away.
Peel the layers back, yeah.
Yeah, and then the end one, you're like, shit. That's way different to what I originally thought. And then you're able to go, well, that's stupid. I can fix that easy. Boom. And then you instantly feel better.
I think a lot of these problems that people are facing, that even me and you face, or anyone that's listening to this face, is the fact of like, whatever you answer the first why to is never your issue.
100%.
It's never your truth. Even the second and the third are lies that you told yourself, and you've literally, you think you feel a certain way because you've programmed yourself to think that you feel a certain way because of something else, right? But when you strip it back to like 4 or 5 whys deep, why this? Or because I feel this. Why? Why do you feel that way? Because of this. Why do you think why? And you ask, and you're radically honest. When you strip it back to those three
thing, being honest about it.
Yeah, radically honest, like really fucking honest, even though it might cause you a bit of temporary pain, but that pain saves you a shitload of work.
100%.
Because what you'll see when you get to this fucking 4th or 5th why, as you well know, because we both do it, it's like this takes away all your bullshit and allows you to see the real problem, and then you can address the real fucking issue, and you can move your life a hell of a lot further forward. 100%. Because you're now treating the actual real issue, rather than you started off thinking you felt that way because fucking Sonia told you that you were this and this. Sonia's not even the fucking issue. It's the relationship you had with your mum when you were a kid, and she made you feel inadequate because she fucking did this and this to you. Well, maybe fix your relationship with your mum then. Yeah. And then you don't have any more issues with any more Sonias in the world because you fix your relationship with your mum. Yeah. That's what people are not doing. Yeah. Yeah. And it is mentally tough to do that and sit down and do it. But the more times you do it, the easier it gets, which is really nice. Because the first time I remember, it was through a Tony Robbins course that I learned that, and I was just like, oh, this feels weird. You know, you write a statement down after like the first why, and you're like, yeah, that's probably it. And then you're like, oh no, I'll do another one. Oh shit, okay. Oh right, here's the real issue. Fuck, okay. It's good. Where in your life have you used it and found out a completely different? What was the issue you thought you had compared to what the issue you actually had was?
Oh, that's a great question. I just seem to do it so regularly at the moment because I'm so very self-aware.
Give me an example in your most recent history. I just want the audience to get real context into the depth.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Probably the one with the chick. So I think I've been thinking like, oh, I need to have a girlfriend. Like I need to knuckle down and like get shit done. And then I'm like, why do I have anxiety towards that of like it needs to happen like now? Like, this is a distraction. I'm like, well, why is that? Oh, okay, well, I feel like, that would really help me out in my business. Well, why do you think that would help me out in my business? Oh, because then I feel like I've got another level of support. Okay, well, why do you need that extra level of support? And then you're really kind of diving in. And you're actually like, well, actually, I'll probably just like need to give one of my mates a call or something like that.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, it wasn't even that issue that I originally thought at all. It's just actually I might have been craving a bit of communication or craving a conversation with someone, because when we're on our own working in a house all day long, unless you step outside the house and actively go and communicate with people,
You're very isolated.
You're extremely isolated, yeah. I speak to my team all day long, but it's not the same as having, sat down in your own place, having a conversation with someone directly and getting into a deep conversation. Like that is so different. But humans massively crave that. Yeah. And that's what I've been craving.
That companionship because you felt lonely because you're trying to pursue this thing. And as you pursue... I don't know if you found this, but as I've pursued this podcast and the online business, and you obviously pursued a lot of online businesses very successfully, but as you get further and further towards what that vision of success looks for you, it gets lonelier and lonelier and lonelier and lonelier because you have to be selfish and stand out in what you're trying to achieve to get to anywhere near the level you want to achieve in the fucking first place. But that gets lonelier and lonelier because there's less and less and less and less people you can speak to and relate to on that journey because they can't 100%. Understand because you have to be so obsessed and selfish and everything else to get to where you want to fucking get to. You know what I mean? And then it gets lonelier and lonelier and lonelier the closer and closer you get to the pinnacle or whatever you think the first pinnacle is before you go on to the next one. Yeah. It gets lonelier, doesn't it? That's what I've found.
Yeah, and it's weird because you can relate to less and less people. So I totally agree with that. And I think that's why when I meet other people who have either, are on the exact same mindset or are at a higher level, I'm so inquisitive because I'm like, this person gets me and I get them. So I want to learn and ask everything, like, how did you get there? I'm not there yet. I want to learn everything.
Do you know, I've asked a lot of people those kind of questions myself when I've been on like holidays as a kid and this and the other. And I didn't realize until thinking about it just now, when you ask those people those questions, not many people ask these successful people those kind of questions. I didn't realize that. Like you, because common sense to me says they must get asked this all the time.
Yeah.
But when you ask these people, like he's probably cleaned that Rolls Royce there at that garage 1,600 times and never been asked a question on anything. But that doesn't seem logical to me, but it is. That's the truth, right?
Yeah.
The truth is that the reason I'm saying this is because like everyone who listens to this has got access to people with knowledge around them at a certain level that can help them move the needle forward in their life. You've got access to that right now. At the end of this podcast, you could get your phone up, go through your phone book, and there's people that have knowledge a little bit more, and you only need someone who's one step further ahead of you, not 5 steps. You only need someone who's one step further ahead of you in a certain area that you want to improve, and you can ask their advice, and they will give you it for free today,
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
And the only difference between you moving forward or not is you being willing enough to put your ego aside to go and ask the advice. And that's what I've learned, is like being able to manage the ego to be able to say, hang on a minute. No, it's not. I want, if you go and ask that person a question.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to look stupid or this, that, and the other. Like, just ask that person a question.
Yeah, because you don't know everything. You know, I don't know everything. And I think, yeah, as you said, putting your ego aside and being like, well, yeah, no question is a stupid question. This is the thing. Like, it really isn't. That person is. They should be rewarded for asking the question, no matter how. You know, if you do think it is stupid, but it's still not stupid because they are being inquisitive. They are trying to improve themselves and grow as a person.
Well, essentially, they're only asking the question because they don't know the answer to the question. Well, you happen to know the answer.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't know the answer originally. You've had to learn the answer to the question before that.
Yeah.
Think about that. When that brings your ego back into check on everything you think about. If someone's asking you a question, it might sound simple to you now, but you didn't know that at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what
exactly.
I mean? It's like,
yeah.
If someone asked me, if someone came up to me and said, "Frankie, how do you wipe your ass?" It's like, well, that's simple. No, it's not, because someone taught me how to wipe my ass, right? Like,
yeah,
no, seriously. Like, you have to put it in the context. It's like, no, someone taught me. I did not know how to wipe my ass one day, right? and then my mum's taught me, and I'm like, thanks, mum. That's great. That's going to help me real a lot in life. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's fantastic. Yeah. But you think that's simple now because you do it every day.
Yeah.
But you've been taught that. Everything in your life you've been taught. So that brings me back to the point of like, question everything you've been taught, because it's not all right. But then also understand that when the people ask you a question, it might seem like a dumb question to you, but then relate it back to the fact of let's be real here. At some point in your life, you've been taught that.
Yeah.
That's it. And then that keeps you in check. Now you're keeping yourself in check, because I think the when I speak to people like yourself, it's like, look how actively you're keeping yourself in check with the lists that you run and the analytics that you put analytics in and frameworks into your life that allow you to operate at the level that you operate. Whereas people that might have a little bit of success and then fall off, and then have a little bit more success, fall off, that happens because of the lack of framework and the lack of structure.
So that makes me think that I should have more structure, which is funny.
Well, I think there's some points in your life when you have to be more fluid, isn't there? But I think that I realised literally yesterday, this dawned on me, that I've felt a bit flatter in the UK than I do in Australia.
Yeah.
And the reason is because of the lack of structure compared to my life in Australia. So in my life in Australia, like I'll get up and I'll go for the walk, and then I'll go gym, and then I'll do my breath work, and then I'll sit down for 3 hours of work, and then I'll do this and I'll do this. And it's all structured, mate. It's all planned out. Same every day. But I just realised I used to think I was boring because I did the same thing every day.
Yeah.
But I actually like it.
100%. Routine is just fantastic.
Routine makes you so much more money.
Yeah, absolutely. Routine creates consistency.
And that consistency creates the happiness because you feel like you're moving.
Yes. You're progressing.
That's something that fell in.
Yeah.
But I just want to dive into some of these businesses that you give me. So obviously the first business that you kind of like built, what was the first business that you kind of like built and then actively went and sold?
It was one, actually no, it was before that. I had one called Buy Sell Shoutouts.
Right.
So this was like, Instagram was maybe 2 or 3 years old, and they were called, I don't know if they're still called Shoutouts, maybe sponsored posts now, maybe they're called. Back in the day, they were called Shoutouts, where basically it was like, you could pay to be on someone's
Instagram story.
Yeah. And I basically created like a network where I was the middleman, effectively, of contacting the people, on Instagram who had big followings, negotiating a price, and then SEO in that site, to then bring people in who wanted to buy a shout out on whatever niche page it was.
Yeah.
So even like just before I sold it, we had Ludacris on there, which was sick. It was just like a unreal thing.
You got Ludacris on your shout out site.
Yeah. I can't remember how much it was. I think it was like $1,000 a shout out or something. Anyway, but yeah, then I obviously used to just arbitrage it and make, take the middle amount for putting two and two together.
Yeah.
So we had like an upload form, you could put everything in and everything. so I built that up, and then I sold it.
Yeah.
And the reason why I sold it, and this is actually going back to that whole list I made of like the different businesses and what I'd learned from it, I'd sold it because I was fearful of what Instagram was going to update or bring in. I thought that they were going to wipe out shout outs or like paid posts. So I fearfully sold it.
Right.
And it's still actually live today. So someone's still running it, whoever purchased it, which is crazy. So I sold it way too prematurely because it could have been.
So you found out then that you act on a bit of fear.
I acted on fear,
and
yeah.
you have to find out at that point where that fear comes from to be able to eliminate the fear, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that. I guess actually, yeah. It was kind of the site was getting big, at the time in terms of money wise. It was getting probably the biggest I'd like hit.
What kind of money was it hitting?
Oh, I think it was like $5,000 to $10,000 a month or something.
Right.
And I was like, ooh, this is interesting here. And I thought like, oh shit, maybe Instagram are going to bring in like an update. So shit, maybe I could just sell it now for whatever the multiple was, 10 multiple or some shit at the time. Now it's like nearly in the 50s multiples that you can get for it, like monthly profit. And and then I remember I just sold it and I was like, fuck, I shouldn't have done that. But yeah.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Because from that experience and from other experiences of buying and selling businesses, you can now actively make a framework. When you're feeling good in your mind, you can actively make a framework of the do's and don'ts of buying and selling a business. And then when you think of selling one in the future, you can go and look at your framework and see and actively question yourself
100%
on your decisions.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of these top people like yourself have a framework that when they're feeling good in mind and body and soul and all that stuff, they make frameworks for different areas of their life, so that when they have to make decisions and they're feeling a bit stressed, they just refer back to the framework of when they felt good, and they ascertain whether it's right for them to make that move predicated on their own framework that they made when they were good.
Yeah, that's a really good shout.
I think that's a really powerful thing.
100%. I think I've got a mental framework. It's not written down.
And mental frameworks are actually no good for you. Whereas mental models that you put down on a piece of paper that allow you to operate, they're the operating system you take out of your mind and put down on a piece of paper. And when you take that out of your mind and put it on a piece of paper and you go, yeah, that works for me, then you can refer back to that, because your mind can change. Which means you can change your model in your mind to suit how you're feeling. So you could say, I'll only sell when it's at $1 million revenue per month.
Yeah.
But you could sell it at $500K because you change the model in your head when you choose to.
Yeah.
That's no fucking good for people.
Very true. Yeah. Yeah. And then I remember we've had exits where we could have got a lot, but then we've been too greedy and gone, nah, we can get more.
So what give me an exit. Give me, what was that website?
I can't say the name. It was a very large affiliate website that we had. And
what did you build it up to revenue-wise?
I never work in revenue. Revenue is a vanity metric.
Okay. Profit.
It peaked at $225 a month.
Pounds.
Dollars.
Yeah.
US, which was nice.
So $225,000 a month profit, one website.
And then
a month. You're a G. You're an absolute G. I love it.
And then all SEO. That's why it's so profitable.
Yeah, because you pump.
Because your costs are here.
Yeah.
And your your revenue's up here.
I know.
So it just goes like that.
So many e-commerce guys miss SEO. Completely miss it.
I was hoping we'd get onto this because I just can't believe it. There's so much money to be made. It's just ridiculous.
See, if I was going to set up an e-commerce brand tomorrow, the first person I would call up is I'd call you up and I'd say, Tom, mate, break down how we're going to scale this thing. I want to scale the organic because it's such a powerful, profitable tool to scale. Honestly, I don't know why. Do you know how many brands are 3 years old in e-com that are still running on paid ads and nothing else? And that to me is fucking crazy.
Honestly, it blows my mind. Like the amount of businesses that we've analysed that are for sale, as I was saying to you earlier, and like if they're running purely off of paid, their actual margins are minuscule. But they might be saying on Instagram, "Oh, we're at 50 mil a year." I'm like, well, what's your profit? They might not even be profitable.
Because you're right in calling me. You're right on calling me out on the revenue, because revenue doesn't make a fucking difference.
No,
because revenue is not important. It's how much profit how much are you keeping at the end of it?
Yeah, absolutely. And what's your cash flow? Cash flow and your profit. But yeah, honestly, like SEO is like should be the backbone of profit for an e-com company, and then anything over that, using that profit, spend that on ads.
Right.
But like,
so if you were building an e-com brand tomorrow, right?
Well, I'm building one now. Printed Memories.
Yeah, you're building printedmemories.com, right? Okay. So you put all your budget at the start into building the SEO.
Yes. So in terms of marketing, yes.
Your whole budget, 100%.
Yeah. So what we did with this one,
right,
is we started the site way before the software was ready, because I wanted to age the website. I wanted to get the links coming in. I wanted to build out the pages that I knew I was going to rank before we even made the software, because the cost associated with that is minuscule. So that was like 2 years to age and rank, and Google start to go, okay, this website's all about custom GIFs and photo books and stuff like that. And then by the time the software is built, and now we're building out the landing pages and we're bringing in other products and stuff like that, the website has like this solid moat around it of like, it is now just in the perfect position to explode.
So you set up a store on Shopify, yeah? Is it through Shopify or different?
I think we started it on WordPress because I didn't want to pay 2 years worth of Shopify.
So you build the assets out on WordPress, and then once you've SEO'd it and got all that, you then build it on Shopify, the main site, and then redirect the pages, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we built it out in the exact same way,
which transfers the SEO value over to the Shopify website. So day one, when you start the Shopify website, the subscription that you're paying, you've got this website that ranks. You've built all the backlinks to all the pages. You've stacked out your content.
Yeah,
and you've got all your headers, your tags, all your keywords in the right areas.
Yeah,
your H1s, your H2s, all that shit. Bang, you're off to the races day one.
Yeah, and now when we're adding content to the site, I'm like refreshing Ahrefs each day, and it's just like boom, 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 and like it's what we call a ranking boner, where it's literally just like the graph just goes like that.
Yeah,
and it's like sick. So now Google is really understanding that this site is an authority in this niche, which is great. But obviously, that's starting fresh. There's so many e-com companies like Ridge Wallet, for example. I think they did like 50 mil revenue, but their profit is like very high because they've managed to do things in a very profitable way. But I went on their website the other day. In terms of SEO, it is like non-existent, and I was just like, how are they making this much money and they don't have anything to do with SEO? But their site is pretty powerful because they've got a lot of free PR, and they've also done a lot of influencers and stuff. So they've obviously had a lot of PR and had a lot of links.
Yeah.
But their site is not set up in the slightest for it.
So in a percentage wise, brands out of 100%, how many brands out of 100% would be, and what percentage wise would be non-optimal SEO right now? From your experience, off the top of your head,
in terms of like e-com brands,
e-com brands or brands that are turn online revenue and sell stuff online. How many of them aren't optimized for SEO? Is it 7 out of 10, like 70%, or is it?
It's a very high number. I mean, out of the ones that we've looked at that are for sale, at least 80% don't have any SEO. So 20% of them are maybe SEO.
And when you're when you're acquiring a business, like you acquire businesses online, one of the key metrics for deciding whether you acquire that business or not is like, how much free cash flow am I going to get and profitability am I going to get from the SEO, the juice that this thing's already got, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the key metrics that you think about when you're paying a multiple for a website that you're just purchasing. You want 100%, to know how many months of free SEO traffic do I have, and how much can I scale this SEO to be able to go and make me more revenue, right?
Yeah.
And these websites don't have any, but the only reason they're selling in this marketplace, these crazy multiples that they get at the moment, is because of, because people have this free cash flow to go and buy them. But when we get into a more recessionary period, the only ones that are actually going to be worth money are the ones that have the SEO value.
Yeah. Well, I think, just a combination of all of them is the best thing. So like, organic SEO, paid traffic, email marketing, maybe even SMS, but like having a well-rounded thing. So if you imagine a pie chart, so the mistake that we've made before is it's 100% SEO. Big mistake, because Google can come wipe you out at any moment. Yeah. If you haven't built it quite in the right way, or if Google change their algorithm slightly, they go, we don't actually quite like this kind of site so much. Yeah. So if you imagine it's a pie chart, you might have 40% SEO, 40% Facebook ads, and then whatever the remainders then split into other things, or maybe even less than that, 30% Facebook, 30% Google ads, 30% SEO, in terms of like what your expenditure might be. Because then you're diversifying where your traffic is coming in from. So if one of the taps gets turned off, or two of the taps get turned off, you've still got revenue coming in, that's profitable. But if you're purely reliant on Facebook ads, and then the trend goes away, or Facebook decides to up their CPA, or ban your account or some shit, that's it, game over. Yeah, and you got to restart everything. So I would say SEO is like the perfect backbone. And I see so many companies I'm just like diving in on, and I'm like, you're ranking like 8th for your main keyword. That doesn't take a lot to get you into the top 3, and you could see a huge boost in profit. Like not just revenue, profit. Yeah. Because
I got to talk to you about my website, because I rank like 3 or 4 for some good keywords. And I don't reckon I'm far off ranking number 1.
No, because like the first position gets like
80% or something.
No, it's like 36% of the clicks, first position. But then when you go down to 4th, I believe it's like 6% of the clicks. Yeah. That like of people landing on that particular search term on Google.
Yeah, mad.
36% of people click the first one, and then like number 4 is like 6% or something. So moving up from 8th, which is like 0.5%, to first, it is the biggest increase ever. Especially if that's that's got thousands of searches a month, and you're suddenly moved up there, and your cost might have been, I don't know, $1,000 or $2,000 over the course of a couple months. Yeah, and then you're now sat there, and you're insanely profitable.
So what I've found from my own business is the fact of like the clients that come through SEO are better clients than the clients that come through paid ads too.
Interesting. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I just think that people that I just find that the time on site is longer. The people read more of the content, and the people fill out more of the right forms, and they book the calls better, and they're just better people on the end of the phone. I've just found
I think it's because the intent is there.
Yes,
so they are searching for content removal. Yeah. Versus when you show someone a Facebook ad,
they could be
shove this in your face. You're like, I don't want new sunglasses.
The problem when you bid on the word content removal is like, obviously you have to bid on that word, because when I'm running ads, I have to bid on that word because it's the name of the website, right? But obviously that means a lot of different things. It could mean removing house content, could be removing Facebook content, could be removing anything.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you get a junk, but you have to bid on your name when you're running ads on that thing anyway. But yeah, it's kind of, there is a hell of a lot of difference. I just see a massive value in it for any business, and like you say, a lot of these stores that are sold on the Shopify marketplace, or these marketplaces like Flipper and that.
Yeah.
When you actually rip out the backbones of the of what you're actually getting, you're getting a website that turns over $100,000 a week or a month or whatever it turns over, but the profitability of that is down because all your money spent driving that revenue, that turnover, is fucking Facebook ads or TikTok or this and the other. Like, there's a zero coming from email, there's zero coming from SEO, there's zero coming from anywhere else that's cost you. Because at the end of the day, your whole role with an online business is like, okay, how can I make the average order value of that customer more? So how can I acquire them? How can I acquire this customer and then sell them more fucking stuff, essentially? Or how can I bring the cost of acquisition to that client down even more? You know what I mean? Or sign them onto a subscription so that they're repeat revenue and all these things that people don't think about. You know, it's just so much stuff that people kind of forget. Everyone wants to start an online business, but there's so many ways to. What I've learned with online businesses, like you can have less clients then if you think about this stuff and make more money.
100%.
Which means if you're serving less people and making more cash flow, to allow you to go and less aggro. Yeah. Whereas most people who start in online business or e-com or whatever you want to do, they want to sell one thing over and over again. And keep sell this widget once. I mean, I look at so many e-commerce businesses, and they might be a one product store. Yeah. And I'll look at it, and they'll be like, well, if I'm buying this one car chamois, right? You could upsell me on the checkout of me buying this car chamois with the soap, with the rinse, with this and the other, with another car chamois, or say I'm buying a face cream. If I'm buying one tube of face cream, on the back end of me clicking to buy that, you should offer me buy 3 for this price.
100%.
Do you know how many websites don't have a fucking upsell on the back end?
Yeah, it's really funny that you said that.
It pisses me off. It pisses me off because
there's so much money being left on the table.
Yeah, it pisses me off. Yeah. When if someone is buying a fucking tube of face cream, doesn't logic tell you that you should try and sell them a couple more tubes? So sell them free. If you're selling a month's supply of face cream, doesn't logic tell you that at the checkout, when they've put their credit card information in and when they're clicking to buy, shouldn't you logically try and sell them 2 more fucking tubes?
100%. And or other stuff. You know, we have like quite detailed flows of post-purchase upsell. Yeah. Where we're offering other things that are genuinely going to make people happy. Yeah. Which is great. So that's the other thing about Printed Memories is we're gifting it. People are buying gifts, and the feedback that we get is so nice. Like, oh, my mum loved this thing. You know, it lit her up. You know, where we met map. Like, you know, oh, my partner. You know, this is the exact street where we met, and it's so nice to read. I just really like that feedback. But yeah, ultimately that's the thing, isn't it? You're giving people stuff at a discount as well, which is even better for them. So it's like a win-win-win. But
a lot of I think so many brands miss the upsell.
Yeah.
From what I've seen.
I don't know. Yeah, I've always had upsells on mine. Well, actually, not from the start.
But the upsell not only serves the customer, but it brings your cost of acquisition of the client down. Yeah. Especially if you're driving ads. And I just think so many people kind of miss it out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's an easy win every day.
Yeah, plus just going back to the whole thing about SEO and like spending on ads versus SEO. Yeah. I see SEO as an asset. You're building an asset because you're acquiring more links, you're writing more content. So they are pieces of assets. Whereas with ads, you're spending $1,000, you don't get anything extra out of it except for the clicks or the potential customers who come to it. Yeah. But you might spend $1,000, you know, you got 3, 4, 5 links and a bunch of content that's there forever. You know, you could have 1 million people come to those 5 bits of content. But if you spent $1,000 on ads, that's just gone.
Well, it's like say you build this asset over here in the beauty niche to drive to your beauty website.
Yeah.
Right. And then say you shut down that beauty website, you've still got that asset to drive traffic to another website in the beauty niche.
I'll tell you an interesting story about just exactly that. So, I said earlier I started the pro scooter company.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, I need to drive traffic to this because it's not quite working. So I built a separate scooter website, and I basically had every single scooter product on there that you could buy and ranked every single page. And then I had this is out of stock product, put your email address to get notified. And then I put people into an email list and then tried to sell them on the product, on my own product. And that basically started ranking really, really well. And I was like, oh shit. Okay. And then my friend at the time started Amazon affiliate stuff. And we'd never really looked at it because we were like, oh, it's like a few %. That's crap for affiliate. And then he was like, oh, I'm earning decent money through it. So I was like, what happens if I take out that email box and just put an Amazon button there instead? And then it links through to that exact product on Amazon. And then that started to make money. And I was like, oh, interesting. And then I scaled that out. And that was one of my biggest sales in the end, was this massive scooter website that I had originally to drive traffic to my own
website
product.
You have to ship and post and deal with all the inventory and all that stuff, and then you just switched it over to an affiliate website.
So I managed to sell all the scooters that I bought, 300 scooters, and I was like, right, okay, let's bin that off. This affiliate site is absolutely blowing up. And that was like the start of all these big affiliate content websites that we built, ranking for like, best electric scooter, for example.
Yeah.
And things like that. And then
how many of these did you have?
How many sites?
Yeah.
Well, that's when it got to like 40. And it just got absolutely mad because there was too much. There was too much going on.
So you built out 40, you picked 40 different niches. And
somewhere in the same niche.
And you built out. And how big a website do you have to build to rank these affiliate websites?
See, this is the thing. Then building a site 3 years prior was way different to building sites then. So we're pumping loads of money, loads of like links, content into these new sites, and they weren't performing anywhere near as well as the previous ones. Right. So that was a big lesson as well. But they need to get to a certain size, but you don't know how big it needs to get, because there's a point where you create content, you build links for X amount of time, might be 3 months, might be a year, might be 2 years, before Google then goes, they are now an authority site. And then that's when it just goes like way up.
And you get the hockey stick growth that most people get on SEO, don't you, at that point?
Yeah, exactly. But you never know when that's going to happen. You just have to keep, piling in. It's just compound of interest, basically. You're just compounding the links and the content.
So how much do you think it would cost the average person with content writers and all the other stuff that they need to run this thing to get it to the point where it can hockey stick?
Oh, it really depends on the niche and the keywords you're going after. Like, because if you go into the finance,
that's
niche,
really expensive.
Yeah, you're spending a lot per link. But if it was like, I don't know, wooden tables, and it was in the UK specifically, you might only need to create 50 articles and have like 50 links, for example.
Yeah.
So it's so different.
So dependent on what the market you're going into.
Yeah. Because ultimately, like, niches that are much harder are more expensive because the payout is bigger.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of figuring out the middle ground.
Well, Fred Shabesta, who came on this podcast, he owns Finder.com.
Okay.
Don't know if you know him.
No.
But Finder.com, they're basically a price comparison website for like mortgages and credit cards and all this, that, and the other. And they, before they started Finder and went into it big on the affiliate thing, that Fred had like credit card comparison or whatever it was called.
Right.
Some comparison site for credit cards. And he just did credit cards and he just had a certain amount of credit cards. And he built an affiliate site for credit cards and coined in massive commissions off that back in the day.
Nice.
So do you think that look, if you were someone listening to this podcast and you wanted to create another flow or a flow of online income, what would be the fastest? And
Google Ads.
Google Ads.
Yeah. Before you even finished, I would do Google Ads. Yeah, because of the speed, you'll quickly be able to figure out if what you're going into is going to be profitable or not. That's the thing you don't find out with SEO. You find out in 6 months, a year, 2 years time.
Yeah.
When you're starting to rank for it. Oh, people aren't actually buying that. Or
Yeah.
I've got the wrong product or
Yeah,
whatever. But with Google Ads, you're very quickly able to figure out the right wording, how your landing pages, you can test out different landing pages.
Yeah.
And because you're bidding on the exact words that you would be
Yeah.
ranking for.
And it's the easiest ad platform in the world.
It is a piece of piss.
Like like you I understand if you're a real high brand and you're managing hundreds of different SKUs and all this kind of stuff why you need a Google Ads manager. But really, for someone who's testing a few different pages and that, you don't really need a Google Ads manager. You can literally do it yourself.
100%. Because I literally, so I've been asking people lately, like, what is a very profitable traffic source, or like, how did you build your website? Blah, blah, blah. And with ecom, when there's search traffic behind a product, which is the only products we're going after, they're saying like Google Shopping being a huge one. So I've been like, right, I don't know anything about Google Shopping. I've never really touched Google Ads. I bought a course on it, spent about 4 or 5 days going through this course, and it's now like, well, that's very simple. Like, negative out the keywords, continue to optimize, and then scale.
That's literally what I did. I was getting loads of these people to do my Google Ads, and then I realised they're all fucking useless. So I'm like, fucking hell, I don't really want to get back in the weeds, but I'm going to have to on this. Because what I realised was, before you should outsource anything, you should understand the fucking thing yourself, right?
100%.
Right. And this is, I'm like, you're a dumb fuck, Frankie, for doing that. Like,
no, everyone does it. I've done it recently with this exact thing with Google Ads. That's why I've dived in on it.
I'm like, mate, and guys, until you've learned something yourself, you should never outsource it.
Yeah.
Like, if you got an e-commerce brand and you're learning Shopify and this and the other, learn Facebook ads and learn your ads yourself before you go give it to someone else.
100%.
Because otherwise you can't then refine and reflect on what's being done for you either.
Yeah.
So this makes it really hard to become even more profitable than what you are. So when I was doing my Google Ads for content removal and that, and refining the different markets that I was in at the time and this and the other, boom, 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 it's just like learning all these things like negative keywords and this and the other, and tracking the tracking pixels and all that kind of stuff, and putting in all that stuff. It's like, once you learn all that stuff, tracking IDs and all that stuff, and putting it on the pages and putting the right code on, like, when you start to learn that yourself, you so you can tell that now I'm not going to be an expert. I'm not going to be as good as the Google ad guy that's done it for 5 years, but I know when the Google ad guy that's done it for 5 years is bullshitting me.
Yeah.
Right.
And
that's massive.
Yeah.
That's fucking massive when you're 100%. In online business. Because every fucker's trying to bullshit you when you're online. Every fucker's trying to, like, people like, oh, I want to start an online business, Frankie. What should I start? I'm like, mate, how about you fucking start by having a go?
Yeah. Just pick something to go into. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, at least knowing like the basics, so that you can know if you're being ripped off or not. I think that's such a big thing. But definitely the biggest wins that I've had is like me learning it in detail first.
Yeah. Learning
how to grow it, and then systemizing it, and then giving it to my team.
Yeah.
Because everything is laid out so it's a SOP, so a standard operating procedure. And it's like, video number 1, you start here. Because I'm a big believer in show me, tell me, as opposed to just read and try and do.
Yeah.
Or even what we used to have when we said person in office is, if they're looking over the shoulder and you're showing them for an hour, they're going to miss so much stuff, and then they're going to come back to you
to ask you
every half hour
and
ask you questions, which is going to break your flow, which then makes you less productive. So you may as well just film it once, break it down into segments, and then they can rewatch that video 1,000 times, pause exactly. He did that. That's where he clicked. Okay, sweet. Now I don't need to ask him how I did it.
Do you know what I did?
What?
That was a game changer for me. You know how there's lots of these SOP platforms and they cost like $99 a month?
Right.
I thought, fuck that, $99 US a month for a fucking SOP platform. So what I did was, I thought, how can I do this? I thought, Teachable. You set up a free account on Teachable, right? A free account. Call it yourcompany.teachable.com. Right.
Yeah.
I screen record videos of me doing every action, and I put it into fucking units in Teachable.
Yeah.
And I built out over time a system and processes work and scheme of how I do every little part of my business and how I would tackle certain bits of content, how I'd think about certain problems.
Yeah.
Right, now I've got a system.
Now you can pass it off to anyone.
Now anyone can do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, it's even like you could even film, like, say you were doing your accounting and stuff like that, or say you were doing blah, blah, blah. You could film it, screen record how you do that, and how you do these transactions, blah, 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 and how you invoice and all that stuff. You film it, screen record it, you upload your screen recording straight into Teachable, right? And then you just give your staff or people logins to the Teachable, and then they can just go through that course inside Teachable. It's an internal mechanism that you can put together that you can give to your staff. You can either get it for free or $39 a month, boom, boom, if you want to brand it, boom, boom, boom. And then that's your internal operating system now. So you build your but here's the thing, right? There's two things to this. Think about this, right? You build this, so you've got your operating system for your business while you want to run a business.
Yeah.
Then you fuck off the business. Then you can sell the system as a course to operate a business in that niche.
Yeah.
Right? You got two things.
Yeah.
And that's the way I thought about it. So you
100%.
So I'm inadvertently building a course on how to do this.
Yep.
Right. So when I fuck this business off over here, if I want to ever sell this cash generator over here, you've got a course here as well.
Yeah.
And it's automatically built on the back end of you doing it anyway. So there's no extra time. Yeah. And I love doing things where there's no extra time involved, because then I'm like, there's no extra time. I'm literally doing this anyway. I might as well screen record it 100%. And talk about what I'm doing it. And as I'm talking about why I'm doing it, I understand better ways of how to do it myself too.
Absolutely. And the amount of times I re-record stuff, like I filmed something the other day and I was like, this is 30 minutes on how to interlink. Like, this should be a 5-minute video. So I just ditched it off and redid it. And I was like, yeah, that's way better. Because you're then, as you're going through it, you're like, oh, there's a better way I can do this. You just instantly find it. You're like, delete, redo. And
that's what most of my videos are inside my internal stuff, is like 3 to 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
Because when you bringing on other people on the boat to do certain things, their attention span's only 3 to 5 minutes anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
You can't have 15. You don't need. This is why courses that teach content in like half an hour and hours and bullshit like that, it's just like mind blowing.
Yeah.
Because a podcast you can listen to and consume for we've been going hour 45 now, but like this will be a 2-hour podcast. You can consume that. You can be doing lots of things and consume that.
Yeah.
But a video, difficult.
Yeah.
Difficult.
Yeah. Well, when you're trying to learn directly from someone actually showing you, I definitely need to shorten down the length of my videos, or speed them up.
It's a case of like, because I like to make videos that you can directly record and then directly action. And that's great, but it's great for anyone who's got a business out there to systemize it, because then the system that you've got, that you build, is not a waste of time, because you can sell the system as a course once you exit the business.
And it saves you so much time. Like our content writers, for example, we've got the whole thing SOP'd out, and all we have to do is send them one link and they have everything. And like the new team member we took on the other day, I caught up with her 2 days later, and she was just like, amazing. I've learned so much. It's like so well laid out. I don't have any questions. I'm just doing. And I'm like, fantastic. That's what we like.
That's how it should run.
Yeah.
What was your out of all that 16? Obviously, you don't have to name the website or anything. But what was the most you've sold a business for? Was it like 7 figures or like?
The highest one I think was 780. Might have been 680 or 780. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then we had.
But what?
So this is why I say don't fully rely on Google.
Right.
We had a site that was up for 4.8
million.
yeah, and this what do you call it? Investment company. They had 200 mil euros to spend,
Right.
and they were looking for content sites. We were like, sweet. They did 3 months of due diligence,
Yeah.
and then the day before they put in their offer, the site tanked, and it had been there for 5.
Do you think they're
years,
behind
maybe?
that though? Because that's a bit freaky, isn't it?
No, because they pulled out after.
Right.
So they obviously didn't want to buy the site.
Yeah.
But it had survived so many updates, and it had just continued to build on updates.
Yeah.
Because of the way that we'd built the site.
So there was a Google algorithm update, and your $4.8 million website went to 680.
No, that was a different sale.
Yeah.
Yeah. It dropped 90% overnight. But it's because of the type of website that it was. So it's very, very different to e-commerce. It's like full affiliate, best reviews website, which Google basically just came along and they're like, we don't really like best review sites anymore. See ya. And that was it.
So you were one day away from selling one website for 4.8 million US.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what their offer would have been, but yeah, it would have been.
It would have been millions.
It would have hopefully been around that. Well, I don't know. I'll try not to think about it anymore. But that's why I say don't fully rely on Google. But when you build an affiliate website, it's so different to a e-com site, because an e-com site, there's a proper company behind it. You are the company. The company is the website.
Yeah.
Versus an affiliate site is not necessarily. There's not really much like company information on there, versus like an e-com site is, you have a full payment processor and everything like that. So the likelihood of you getting wiped out from SEO is minuscule in comparison. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, okay, let's do full switch over to e-com, go back to the roots, and build from there, because as I was saying, you move from 8th to 1st, it's just astronomical difference.
So you've gone back to a game where you can win on smaller margins by making smaller leaps. Essentially, is what you're saying. Where you can pick up a brand at number 8 and take it to number 1, and you can make a mass amount of revenue in that period from just making a small amount of changes that's easy to you from your skill set.
Yeah, 100%. So from like a consultancy point of view, that's what I would do. But with my own site. Yeah, like we're very, very specific with the products that we're ranking, and I know the sites that I want to go after. I've seen one of the sites sell for like 380 mil or something, and I'm like, I can outrank them. So I'm like, No, I've seen a site sell
for 380
mil, and
one website.
Yeah, and I'm convinced I can outrank them in Google. So I'm like, okay, here's my blueprint now. Let's reverse engineer how that's, how they've kind of built that.
Yeah.
And then add another layer of things that they're not even doing, because they're like a big elephant site, like it looks like utter shit.
How long will it take you to outrank a £380 million website?
I've got a 6-year time frame for that, because it's not just a case of us outranking them. Like, we need to bring on the products. We need to scale the team up to that point. So I think it would take that long.
And in between now and 6 years' time, when this happens, how many staff are on the bus by this point, and how much how many staff, and what infrastructure is in place to allow that to happen?
I don't know. It will just come. That's the thing. It will just, as we get bigger and bigger. Because this is the thing I've learned as well, is I want a lean team. Yeah. That's why we've only got 7 people at the moment, 6 or 7 or 8, whatever it is. And then as we start to grow, we go, we're getting to maximum point for example, like support team.
Yeah,
we need to take 2 more people on.
Yeah.
Now, go through all our SOPs. Boom, within a week, you're fully proficient. So it's just scaling up, SEO might get that big. Okay, right, now we need more link builders. Okay, sick, go for our SOP. Boom. All right, you're plugged in. PR team's getting, all right, add more there. And it would just kind of, that's why I don't know how big it's going to get, because I don't know
you just
how many people we might need at each point, but it will grow into that.
But you just want to run it as lean as possible for as long as possible.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't really want to sell it. I want a company that is going to be around for years.
Right. Which
is fun.
So how's your mindset changed in terms of time horizons to allow that long outlook then? Is it just a case of like now, instead of looking like 1 to 2 years or 12 to 18 months ahead, you're now looking like 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, because I think when I was like 16, 17, I had a very, very short time frame for things that I would set up and run. Like, all right, I'm just going to take a punt on this. Let me try it. Like, for example, I was 17 and dropped out of college after 3 months, and my mum was like, you need to go get a job. And I was like, I don't want a job. So I started developing iPhone apps. It was when like the first iPhone came out, and I was like, oh, iPhone apps, that looks cool. So I just taught myself C++, like to code. And then, this is not a funny little story actually. There was the number one app at the time in the store called Brain Tester. And I don't know if I should say this, but I basically built my own one, right? And called it Brain Tester 2. Right. Because I was like, I could do that. I'm 17. I don't really think about repercussions of anything. And it went up to like, I think it was second in the App Store, but I think let's just say it was top five in the App Store. And it was doing like £750 a day in revenue. My dad was like, oh shit, like in 30 days time, you could buy a Lamborghini. and it was just like such a weird, surreal thing.
Yeah.
And then like on day 3, I got like a court notice from this American company who obviously owned Brain Tester.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck. It's like the end of the line. Very short, time horizon for it. And I actually, in the end, my dad was just like, look, just take it down. Like, do not get involved with US law or anything like that, very sensibly. But I actually emailed them back and said, well, I'm going to take you guys to court because you have actually copied another website. So they basically found this website that had like a Brain Tester type thing on it, ripped the entire thing and made it into an app, and their app was number one, right? And I emailed them saying, you're not even the same company. You've straight ripped that. So, if you want to get funny with me, then, look at this. And within the week, they changed their entire app, just gone, and did a full unique one. So I was like, you motherfuckers. So they'd copied it off someone else anyway, and they were number one in the App Store at the time.
That's mad, isn't it, when you think about it? But some of the best things that you'll ever do in your life are iterations of other people's things too.
Yeah, you don't need to reinvent the wheel.
You don't need to reinvent the wheel. But if you were someone who's going to start, if someone listening to this who's literally going to start online, and I know you said the traffic source would be Google, but if you were someone who's going to start online and turn their first dollar looking to turn their first dollar of online income, where would you start? Would it be affiliate? Would it be e-com? Where would you start?
I wouldn't do e-com because normally you have to buy the product. I would probably, I'd run traffic to a landing page. So I'd probably do Google ads in combination with probably like an affiliate offer, I reckon.
Yeah.
Where you've created the landing page, so you have written the copy, you understand copy. So many things you can learn off of that. Just like Google ads plus an affiliate offer. You learn copywriting, you learn persuasion, you learn the offer. You learn how to do Google ads. You know what's successful, you know what's not successful. You do have to start off with a budget, for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe like 1 or 2K to really get going with something. But you'll learn an incredible amount from that. And that's better than buying or going to uni, I reckon, in my opinion.
If I was going to go after a niche myself now, and I was going to turn my first dollars online, I would pick an affiliate system that paid a high amount of money, like credit cards, like CRMs, like these other things. I would pick those kind of things. I'd build out a ClickFunnels page, like you said, with copy, educating them on why on the 3 types of CRM. I would, I'd find out a way that I could collect an email on that page as well, right? So that I'm running ads, so that I'd have a set of follow-up emails set up. So I'd collect I'd pay to acquire their email, and then follow up and sell. And if they didn't buy the CRM off the back of the upsell page, I would then sell them the CRM through the email sequence. And that's what I would do.
That's a good way of doing it. There's so much to learn.
There is a lot, but the reason I say do that is because why do I say do that, and why am I adding that to what you've just said? Is because what you learn in there. You learn how to write sales copy.
Yep.
You learn how to build a landing page. You're building a list of emails.
Yeah.
You're learning how to write copy, to write email copy, right? And then you're getting a 50% commission on a lot of these deals.
Yeah.
On CRMs, credit cards, and all that stuff on the sign up. Because and you've just got to even if that fucking fails, you've learnt so much, or learnt different parts you might have to refine. That won't. If you get every part of that right, it won't fail. Me and you both know that. But even if you became a fantastic copywriter, but it's not the right thing, you've still learnt how to become a fantastic copywriter, and now you can sell copywriting to people.
100%.
So it's like there's a lot of learning in that.
I think that's the other skill actually is, although like, I mean, the whole like agency model has just been rinsed.
Yeah. Like
spending other people's money to learn is a great way to learn. Like in a bit more of a selfish way, but like, yeah, if you were going to go, right, I want to learn Google Ads, the best thing to do is to learn it with someone else's money and someone else's business.
Yeah.
Because then you have no upfront capital. You just sweat equity.
Yeah.
And then you can then learn what's working and what's not working.
Yeah.
Without having to do that. And then you have a skill that then you can then replicate into other things. Or that business, you bring success to that business owner. They then say they're going to know 5 other business owners who might want the same service.
Yeah.
And that's how you could build something up. That's probably what I would do, actually, thinking about it.
What, the agency model?
Yeah, I feel like that's probably quite. It's probably
the fastest way to. I mean, look, if I was going to set up a agency, the only agency I'd set up is e-commerce ads.
Interesting.
If I was starting again tomorrow and I was setting up an agency, I'd run e-com ads. Because it's being a media buyer for e-com. It's clearly defined in the numbers. As you go along, that as you scale more profit, you can clip more money. It's just a simple.
Yeah.
It's a simple model. It works.
Yeah.
I wouldn't scale any other agency. Any creative agency, I wouldn't go near it.
No.
Because creative, lowest, like there's so many, I just wouldn't go near it. It's too many, you have to employ too many people, have too many outsourcers, all this shit. It's just annoying. And it's not, like e-com ads, you can scale the fuck out of that. And it's really profitable. If I was going to go into one thing from an agency point of view.
Yeah.
It's really
interesting.
profitable.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably do Google ads, I reckon.
Yeah.
If I was to do it over again. Because learning that in combination with landing pages, you'd be a beast. You'd be unstoppable.
Yeah. I just think stacking these skills,
yes.
different skills is what's more important. Like
100%.
Essentially when you're starting earning your first few dollars online, essentially it doesn't really matter. It's just about like, it was the unhappiness of being a I didn't have unhappiness being a carpenter and joiner at the time. I was happy being a carpenter and joiner, but the fact that I was swapping my time for money really pissed me off, because I'm like, mate, you are more you fucking pissed me off. I'm like, why are you doing this? It's stupid. Yeah. It's a stupid idea. But it's a stupid idea. But mate, what are you doing to educate yourself in order to learn the skills needed to do it? Absolutely fuck all, Frankie. Well, that's why you're still a carpenter then, isn't it? That's why you're still a carpenter. It's because you haven't took any action on, like, you're not learning ads when you get home.
Yeah.
You're out over here trying to date this chick or whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah.
But you're not, but that's where you come into the skill stacking. It's like you said on here, you bought a course. I mean, fuck me, you've bought and sold and acquired and built 16 fucking companies. And you're still telling me that you bought a fucking course to learn Google Ads the other day.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, like a week and a half ago. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that tells you. And here's someone that's earned millions and millions of dollars online and turned over bank.
Funny,
and do you know what I mean? And got property and all this shit. And like, you're telling me that you bought. It's like, you have to be in the constant pursuit of being a white belt in whatever you're doing, because when you're 100%. A white belt, you keep learning, you keep learning.
Absolutely.
But the one thing I want to finish on with you is like, if you have to check out the planet tomorrow and there's one piece of golden advice that you can, and wisdom you could just impart on the world, the one thing that you wish you'd been taught that would make everything else easier, what would it be?
I think find a mentor, or learn from someone who's already done it first, who you could actually, I guess, verify if they'd actually done it, not like an online guru. Because some of the information that I've had from people who I would consider a mentor has been like such a massive turning point. Like, I had 2 very specific questions, and I went to a guy to ask him about it. And that just honestly totally moved everything in a total different direction. So it was basically, when should I invest in property? And I've got this business plan. When should I, like, I guess, exit out of it or stop doing it or whatever? And he basically said, invest in property when you have excess capital. Don't do it before you have that. Number one. Then the other one was, rinse that business plan for every single penny, and when that's done, then move on to the next thing, which is exactly what we did, and that did extremely well. So I only invested in property when I had excess capital, and we absolutely rinsed the affiliate model, the content affiliate model for everything. And now that it's burnt, now that it's done, okay, now we're moving on to the next thing. But I actually saw the writing on the wall before it was coming.
Yeah.
So started other things prior.
Yeah.
To line that up.
Yeah.
So I would say that find someone who has done what you want to do already.
Yeah.
And that's very easy to do. For example, my first story at the petrol station. Random guy with a nice car. Go ask him, here's the position that I'm in, what would you do? And that the likelihood is that person will give you so much time of the day, because if you're a passionate individual and they can see that you genuinely want that information from them, or that you'll genuinely act on it, they will absolutely give you the time of the day, because an entrepreneur always enjoys helping other entrepreneurs.
I love it.
So that's what I would say.
And that, my friends, is Thomas Phillips.
Mega. That was awesome,
mate. I really appreciate your time on that. There's a lot. I mean, I thought we'd, when I, obviously you think I don't plan these podcasts and how they're going to go, but I didn't imagine we'd dive into so much manifestation and so much vision board stuff and all that stuff at the start.
Yeah.
But I think if you guys listen to that and have got to this point, and I appreciate you getting to this point, but it's like, do me a solid favor. Yeah? If this has added the value that I believe it'll add to your life, go and share this with a friend, leave a review on Apple, drop me and Thomas a message like that. That would mean a lot to me, and hopefully it adds a lot of value to your life, mate, because it's changed a lot of my perspective on a lot of stuff in my head, let me tell you. So I really appreciate your time, mate, and I hope you've enjoyed it.
Oh, mate, always love it. Excellent.
Much love, mate.
Thank you so much.
Guys, like, subscribe, share it with your friends. Much love.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Frankie Lee Podcast.